Back with another video, Big Mouth Sports Talk. Get that crust out your eyes. I'm your host, Anthony. I'm going to start off by saying thank you to everybody that watched my last videos. Much love. Tap that like, hit the subscribe, do the right thing. Okay, we got Thanksgiving coming up, so let's talk turkey, let's talk business, let's talk football, baby. All right, the Buffalo Bills roll over the New York Jets 45-17. Josh Allen, 21 for 28, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 13.1 yards per average. So that's great. Singletary, 7 carries, 43 yards. Breida, 3 carries, 28 yards. Zach Moss, 7 carries, 27 yards. Breida had 2 touchdowns. Singletary 1, Moss 1. So great production for our running backs. I've been talking about this all year. Okay, you got to be able to run the ball because you become one-dimensional, and if you can't instill that complementary football, you can't go a long way with it. So good job from them. Although the New York Jets are the worst defense in the league, not a very good team whatsoever. Good try, but I mean, you know, it's not saying too much to put up those numbers against the Jets. But nonetheless, good job. Get in a rhythm, build that momentum, take that into next week, okay? So, New York Jets quarterback Mike White is coming off of a 400-yard game. Everybody's talking, oh, this guy's the future for New York. Well, guess what? Not so fast, Mike, because you had 4 turnovers, okay? 4 turnovers. Levi Wallace with an interception, Tre'Davious White with an interception, Johnson with an interception, and Jordan Poyer. So our defense, and we had a forced fumble with the recovery, Micah Hyde. He forced the fumble, and he recovered it. So that defense was playing great. I'm really happy about that defense. They're playing strong. So if we can carry this momentum, that would be fun. That would be great. Okay. So Mike White, he's not even going to start next week because that performance was awful, and he doesn't deserve to play another game after that. All right, he needs to practice. He needs to get back on the field. He needs to get back in the gym. He needs to figure some things out. Okay. So great job overall. Great win. It was we dominated the Jets. So that's great because we're coming off of a really tough loss to Jacksonville, 9-6, and they're a bad team. So that one kind of stung. But this was a great bounce back game, and I believe that, you know, if you're gonna have a bad game, you better follow it up with a great game, so you can get back in that rhythm and start flowing again, okay? Now, the Buffalo Bills play against the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday, 1 o'clock, primetime game. That's a big game because the Indianapolis Colts, they're a damn good team, okay? Carson Wentz, not so much, not a great player. I think he's the flaw in that organization. But Jonathan Taylor, okay? 161 carries, 937 yards, 5.8 average per play and per run, and 9 touchdowns. So that's not Derrick Henry level, but that's the next best thing. And you saw what happened with our defense when we played against Derrick Henry. We got absolutely shredded. We got ran over, we got bullied, and the time of possession was going towards Tennessee because of that effectiveness running the ball, okay? But, you know, now we go up against Jonathan Taylor. Although he's not as explosive, he's still very dangerous. I'd say he's probably the second best back in the league, okay? Like I said, next best thing. So it's going to all start on that D-line, as it always does. It starts on that D-line, you know, with Rousseau, Phillips, Ed Oliver. They're going to have to really make an impact, okay? Those guys are going to have to make an impact. Jerry Hughes, and, you know, since we have 8 different defensive linemen, they'll be rotating in and out to stay fresh. But, I mean, we're going to have to set that line of scrimmage because this Indianapolis Colts team, they can run that damn ball. They got good wide receivers with Pittman. Pascal's not bad. Tight end's nice. I just think Carson Wentz, you know, he's not the best quarterback. I think every game that you're going to see Carson Wentz play, he's going to make 1 or 2 plays in that game where you're going to scratch your head and you're going to say, what the hell was that? You know, like, what was that? So if we can contain Taylor, to a degree, if we can stop him from just having a massive game, that's going to put a lot more pressure on Carson, which is exactly what we want because our secondary is fantastic. So the more that Carson throws the ball, the better that is for us. Okay? Our defense is playing spectacular, lights out. Only question mark is, can we stop a great running back? Because the only great running back really to this point that we went up against was Derrick Henry, and that was a bull in a china shop. That guy just, he ran through us. Simple. Now, from an offensive perspective, okay, I talk a lot about running the football, and I talked a lot about last week we were able to run it, 4 touchdowns rushing it. It looks great on paper, right? But we're going up against a tough defense. That Colts defense is legit. Darius Leonard, that linebacker, is a savage. DeForest Buckner, that's an all-pro every year. And then Bobby Okereke, I think that's his name. But he's like new guy, and he's balling out. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a challenge. Okay? Because if we can't run the ball, we become one-dimensional, right? And this is a great test, right? This is a great game for us to show everybody that, we're back on pace. We're doing our thing. We're calling the right play calls. Dable's got to design these play calls and line them up properly in order to give us success because we don't have the best running backs in the league, okay? So we're going to need good plays. Our offensive line's going to need to dominate, going to need to be able to contain DeForest Buckner, all the rest of those guys that I was talking about because they're coming and they're legit. That Colts defense year after year is legit. I truly predict this game is going to be, I'm going to say 24-17 Buffalo, but I think it's going to be a pretty damn close game because there's no rollover. The only way this is going to get out of hand where we can really take over is one of two things. Is if we stop that run game or if we just, make plays on Carson Wentz. We get turnovers, we get the ball, control that time of possession, then we'll be extremely successful. But yeah, it's going to be tough because those Colts do not think we're going to be able to run that ball on them. Okay? They're saying to themselves, we're going to prepare for Josh Allen. He's the MVP caliber player on that team. He's playing out of his mind. He's spectacular. He's a savage. He does it all with his feet, with his arm. He makes plays that make you say, wow. Okay? So they're game planning. Okay? They're ready. All right? So big game. Huge game because number one, it's an AFC game. Number two, we're in second now. Okay? So in all of the divisions. So we're in second in all the league in the AFC. And that number one team gets a bye, and that's very important. When you're going into the playoffs, you want that bye. So your guys are more rested, you have to play less games, and you have an easier path to the Super Bowl. So this game has big implications, I do have a feeling it's going to really ride on Josh because guess what, guys? I just don't have the confidence in this run game. So I think it's going to come down to how well can Josh Allen play? How well can Diggs play? How well can these receivers play? Because, to be honest with you, there's one thing. If we can bring Matt Breida and he can get a starting role, he can get a majority of snaps, not fumble, and really get with the play calling, really get a chemistry going with Josh, he's our only chance at the running back position. Because I've seen Moss for now 2 years. I've seen Singletary for 3 years. And don't get me wrong, I'm not hating, okay? But it's just not enough production. It's not good enough. Too much pressure is on Josh Allen. Okay? So I personally think it's going to come down to Allen. He's going to have to ball out. He's going to have to run the ball, pass the ball, not get injured, everything. Offensive line is the second thing that's going to be major. They're going to have to pass protect. Because against that Jacksonville team, when we lost that game, our O-line couldn't block Nathan. Okay, we had injuries. We had 2 injuries on the line and 1 with our tight end. So that definitely contributed a bit, but no excuses to losing to that team. Okay, so big game. Let's go Buffalo. We got it. All right, that's it. That's a wrap. Catch you later.